So obviously the book and the script lend so much to who Finnick is. So I'm wondering what you personally added into the character that we may not know from the books and the scripts.
I mean, there was quite a lot of blanks that I had to fill in purely because, you know, you do get an insight into who he is and where he's come from, etc. But at the same time, you know, there is quite a large gap. You know, before he went into the games when he was 14, what was his upbringing, etc. And I think I kind of only sort of discussed this by myself. You know, I talked to myself in the mirror, and I kind of realised that he never really had a relationship with his parents. Our sort of, well, my vision was that they were killed through some sort of rioting, so which is why he's got it embedded in his soul as to like why he thinks the revolution would be great. And then Mags, which is why that she was such an important part of his life. She was, in a sense, his guardian, you know, and which is why, you know, that loss is everything, which is why this, going into like District 13 at the beginning of this movie, he's in such a traumatic mindset, you know. He's the only other person that he knows and loves, Annie Crester, has been taken hostage in the capital. So there were sort of many blanks, is what I'm trying to say.
I think one thing you do brilliantly is the first is Catching Fire. You paid him such a confidence. There was such a confidence in the character. Now here, there's like a vulnerability to him. We meet him kind of in a different state of mind. He doesn't have the confidence he has. He's kind of vulnerable about Annie and where she's gone. So I'm wondering, for you as an actor, when that camera turns on, when do you feel the most vulnerable as Sam? Like what makes you vulnerable?
I think feeling naked, like literally and mentally. You know, it is that feeling of. Honestly, I feel very insecure when no matter whether I'm in character or not, when I'm like not wearing much.
Sure. Yeah.
Purely because I'm quite insecure about my body and my image, etc. And I think that, to me, is probably my most vulnerable state. I also feel like there was a character, you know, when you play a character that's very close to who you are as a human being, that can be quite revealing, I think, at times. So that equally is quite a vulnerable state.
Yeah, no, there's a great line. I believe Julianne Moore says that she says, "There's no progress without compromise." And I think it's a fantastic line. I'm wondering how that line can apply to you as an actor and the compromises you have to make in this business, maybe working all the time, being away from family. Like, can you talk about that element and how that would apply to you?
I think you do, you know, you do have to deal with a lot as an actor. I mean, the great thing is you always have to remember that I'm very, very lucky to be in the position that I am. To be working as an actor is an incredible, incredible achievement.
Right.
At the same time, you know, there are a lot of compromises and a lot of sacrifices you have to make in order to survive and to continue working. I think being away from home and friends and family is probably the toughest thing. But also I think you realise that, you know, despite the fact that I'm in a very fortunate position, I'm in a less fortunate position than so many of my peers, you know, who can get films made just by their names, you know, whereas I don't have that weight yet. I'm not Liam Hemsworth or Josh Hutcherson or Jennifer Lawrence. But, you know, I'm growing, and I think that's all to look forward to. I'm not. It's a marathon, not a sprint. You know, and it's longevity that is important to me. So continue to work hard, knuckle down, and hopefully, and be a nice guy. I think. And I hope
you are a good guy.
Out.
3 times I've interviewed you. I can see you as a leading man. I think you're awesome. I think you do great work, and I'm looking forward to everything you do in your career.
Much appreciated.
Sam, always a pleasure, man.